सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपीनाथान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so now chapter 4, the appearance of Sri Narada. Chapter overview. So 4 to so basically it's Chanakya Rishi's questions from 1 to 30, and 4 to 8 is inquiries about Shukadeva Goswami, 9 to 12 questions about Parikshit Maharaj, and then 14 to 25 Sutta Goswami starts answering the questions. Vyasadeva divides the Veda. 26 to 31 is Vyasadev's dissatisfaction, and finally Narada visits Vyasadeva. Okay. Text 1. Vyasa uvacha iti bruvanam samstuya muninam dirghasatrinam vriddha kulapati sutam bhavricha shaunako bravit. On hearing Sutta Goswami speak thus, Shaunak Muni, who was the elderly learned leader of all the rishis, engaged in a prolonged sacrificial ceremony, congratulated Sutta Goswami by addressing him as follows. Purport, please read.
In a meeting to learn men, when there are congratulations to address for the speaker, the qualification of the congratulator should be as follows. He must be the leader of the house and an elderly man. He must be vastly learned also. Sri Saunaka Rishi had all these qualifications, and thus he stood up to the congratulate Sri Sutta Goswami. When he expressed his desire to present Srimad Bhagavatam exactly as he heard from Sukadeva Goswami, and also realize it personally. The personal realization does not mean that one should, out of vanity, attempt to show one's own learning by trying to surpass the previous Acharya. He must have all confidence in the previous Acharya, and at the same time he must realize the subject matter so nicely that he can present the matter for the particular circumstances in a suitable manner. The original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be screwed out of it, yet it should be presented in the interesting manner for the understanding of the audience. This is called realization. The leader of the assembly, Saunaka, could estimate the value of the speaker, Sri Sutta Goswami, simply by uttering Yathahamati, and therefore he was very glad to congratulate him in ecstasy. No learned man should be willing to hear a person who does not represent the original Acharya. So the speaker and the audience were bona fide in this meeting where Bhagavatam was being recited for the second time. That should be the standard of the recitation of Bhagavatam, so that real purpose can be served without difficulty. Unless the situation is created, Bhagavatam recitation for the extraneous purpose is useless labor both for the speaker and for the audience.
Okay. So here, so after Sutta Goswami spoke, Then Shaunak Rishi began to congratulate Sutta Goswami. So here there are three qualifications of the congratulator being mentioned. What are they?
Learned, very learned.
Vriddha, Kulapati and Bhaurucha. So Vriddha means the eldest, elderly person. Kulapati, head of the assembly. So Kulapati means basically Kula means family. So superior by family lineage. That's the basic meaning. Superior by family lineage, Kulapati. And Bhaurucha means learned. So Shaunak Rishi, he had all these qualifications and therefore he was qualified to congratulate Sutta Goswami. So here we see that as we were discussing right in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada writes the Srimad Bhagavatam is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Okay. So throughout the Bhagavatam, we see there is a culture that is maintained. Culture means behavioral patterns. So we find, and we have already had a discussion on this point last time, what is the importance of that culture in trying to understand the Bhagavatam. So the culture needs to be maintained in order for one to understand the philosophy. So culture means behavior, etiquettes. So what is the importance of following Vaishnava etiquettes? Basic question. Let's revise. Yes. Okay, it's like an ornament. So what's the importance of this ornament? Okay, that means Krishna and the Vaishnavas become pleased. Okay, good point. What else? Importance of following etiquettes?
It will be pleasing to everyone and we can attract others also.
Okay, pleasing to others, okay.
It is our right now in condition stage. It is our spontaneously we have the tendency of making offenses. That comes as a natural nature. So because we are not in that pure stage, so that we don't make offenses, so Vaishnava etiquettes are there.
Yes, good point. So the Vaishnava etiquette helps us to prevent offenses. Yes, Kunal.
In dealing, the submissive and humble attitude actually attracts the mercy of superiors. Thus he can.
Okay, the right attitude attracts the mercy of the superiors. That's a very good point. Yes.
Representation of the philosophy.
Okay, it's a representation of the philosophy, means philosophy in action. Okay, yes, good point. Anything else?
Actions speak louder than words.
Yes, actions speak louder than words. So that means?
Our etiquettes they preach more than what.
Yes, so they are very effective preaching. Yes, very important points. Actions speak louder than words. Yes, so for all these reasons, the etiquettes, the following of etiquettes is very important. We know the well-known pastime of Sanatana Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sanatana Goswami came by the ocean beach, hot sand, because he wanted to avoid contaminating the pujaris of Jagannath temple. Everyone knows the pastime, right? And so then when Sanatana Goswami reached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu was very pleased. And Mahaprabhu said that though you are the guru of the entire universe, but you are teaching through your own example. And so there he says that this following of the Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of the Vaishnav. And Mahaprabhu says if a Vaishnav doesn't follow the etiquettes, then he becomes a laughing stock in this life and the next. So therefore, the following of the etiquettes is something which is very, very important for our devotional services. Otherwise, the philosophy by itself will not make much meaning. I don't remember whether we discussed these points last time, but these 2-3 instances are there. I'm sure I did mention. This past time of this lady who was doing a PhD in some religious studies, she came to meet Srila Prabhupada. I told this? Huh? Okay. So she was doing some PhD in religious studies. She wanted to get some information from Srila Prabhupada, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. And so she began asking some questions. She said, so Swamiji, these days so many gurus, swamis, yogis are coming to the Western world from India. So what do you think will be the effect of this on Western culture? And Srila Prabhupada replied, Western culture? What culture is that? So Prabhupada was giving some funny answers like that. She was not getting much information for her PhD thesis. So then after some time she said, so Swamiji, now let us discuss something about your philosophy. And then Srila Prabhupada, he shocked her with another statement. So he said, philosophy without character has little or no meaning. And of course she was quite taken aback by the statement. She didn't know what to say. But anyway, that was a very instructive statement. Philosophy without character has little or no value. And therefore, we did quote this quite a few times. Last verse, there's a 28th verse of the 8th chapter Bhagavad Gita purport. Prabhupada writes, no. Yeah, your statement is correct, but I was referring to something else. The study of the Vedas is not meant for the recreation of armchair speculators, but for the formation of character. So some of these statements are very important. It's worth memorizing them. Very, very deep and powerful statements. And we know again the famous verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the pastime with the Sanodia Brahman. Dharma stapane hetu sadhura vyavahar. The principles of religion are established by the behavior of a saintly person. And so therefore, if the behavior is not there, there are many people speaking philosophy. I don't remember whether I told you this incident of a person who did a PhD in Jaydev Goswami's Geet Govind. Did I tell you that? So anyway, so this person came, he met one of our ISKCON sannyasis, and he began saying, so it's very nice, all of you Krishna bhaktas, Krishna devotees, you're worshipping Krishna, very nice, but it surprises me that how you can worship this this God who dances with other people's wives. He did PhD in Geet Govind. So what he understood? So after talking with him, the sannyasi said, so it's my suggestion, it will be nice if you can carefully study the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So the point is that there are many scholars, philosophers, theologians who speak about philosophy, religion, they've done PhD, but yet they may not understand it. In the Bhagavatam we hear about quite a few demoniac personalities speaking perfect, excellent philosophy. Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, first class philosophy. But what is the purpose of that philosophy? What is the purpose?
Deny the existence of God or supremacy.
So anyway, they spoke the philosophy, but ultimately they had no faith in God. They had no practices, no character. So what was the use of the philosophy? So therefore, we have to keep this point in mind that the philosophy will make sense only when there is culture, only when there is behavior, then only the philosophy will make sense. Otherwise, neither will we make tangible spiritual progress, nor will other people be attracted. And even if they're attracted, they may be attracted on a sentimental basis, some superficial attraction, but after some time they won't be inspired to continue. Because the real inspiration comes from the transformation. When people see that here is a person who's different from the rest of the society, in the rest of the world, people are seeing spiritualists, religionists, so-called sadhus, gurus, speaking philosophy, but they're doing so many immoral activities, some of them are going to jail and whatnot is happening. So that is what people are seeing outside. So they will not be inspired unless they see that there is a change, a difference. As they say, people who are walking their talk. And that is why, that is one of the main reasons why Srila Prabhupada was so successful. Besides, of course, definitely empowered Acharya, pure devotee, and of course, those qualifications in themselves makes it obvious that Srila Prabhupada also had a perfect character. But that was what was most attractive. Shyamsundar Prabhu clearly writes in his book, Chasing Rhinos of the Swamp, he says, we didn't understand much philosophy. They didn't understand much philosophy initially. But what attracted them was Srila Prabhupada's character. So they saw a person here is a person who is selflessly working for others' benefits without any selfish motivations. That was what they saw. That was what they could feel. And that was what greatly attracted them. And so therefore, that's an important point. So here, see, so the Bhagavatam always presents the philosophy along with the culture, the behavior, the etiquettes. And so here we find Shaunak Rishi, he is standing up to congratulate Sutta Goswami. Not that anyone just stood up and started speaking. No, some etiquettes are maintained. Okay. Now the other important point that Srila Prabhupada is elaborately discussing here is about realization. What is realization? One of the very precise and wonderful explanation of realization Prabhupada is giving in this purport. Personal realization does not mean. So he explains first what it does not mean and then what it means. It does not mean that one should out of vanity attempt to show one's own learning to try to surpass the previous acharyas. In this connection, there is quite a well-known pastime like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Which one? Yes, Vallabha. Vallabhacharya, who came to Mahaprabhu and said, I wrote a commentary which is better than that of Sridhar Swami, the original commentary on the Bhagavatam. Mahaprabhu was very displeased when he heard that. And he said, one who does not accept the Swami is a prostitute. So Mahaprabhu didn't like that at all. He was very upset. So therefore, this is the first point to understand. So when we present a realization, the Siddhanta has to be in line with the previous acharyas. It cannot be a total concoction. Just like Prabhupada gives the example, some person who commented on the Bhagavad Gita said that actually Bhagavad Gita is a discussion between a physician and a patient. So, total concoction. So like that. So somebody may say, oh, it seems to be a good realization. It has to be in line with the previous acharyas. It cannot be a concoction. The Siddhanta has to be correct. So that one should be careful that one is not presenting some concoctions. So if one has doubts, then one should clarify. Am I presenting what is in line with the previous acharyas or not? He must have full confidence in the previous acharya. Full confidence in the previous acharya. So if one does not have confidence, then one will think that maybe the acharya didn't present something. Or maybe the acharya gave something wrong, or maybe gave something less. So therefore, one must have full confidence in the previous acharya that what they have presented is perfect. And at the same time, he must realize the subject matter so nicely that he can present the matter for the particular circumstances in a suitable manner. And that's what Srila Prabhupada wrote when he was describing Shukamukhad. Remember? Shukamukhad. There Srila Prabhupada explained what is the meaning of Shukamukhad?
Not just presenting as it is, but as it relevant to the audience.
Yes, correct. So there Srila Prabhupada wrote that Shukamukhad does not mean that Shukadeva Goswami simply repeated the message like a parrot, but he presented the message in a way that would be appealing to all classes of men. So that is the meaning of realization. Presenting the message in a way, same message of the previous acharyas, but presented in a manner that is understandable to the circumstances, to the people at hand. And I think so we already discussed that point, that's exactly what Srila Prabhupada did. So Srila Prabhupada presented the same message of the previous acharyas, but he added his realizations in terms of examples, analogies which are relevant to the modern day context. Like? Okay, the car and driver example. What else?
Helmet engineer.
Okay, so Prabhupada so many times he speaks about engineers, chemists, space satellites, Sputnik, and the whole moon landing episode. So moon is farther than the sun, or the sun is farther than the moon. He presents on chemical evolution, Big Bang theory, Darwin theory. So none of these examples are touched by any of the previous acharyas. You never find them in any of the previous acharyas' commentaries. But Prabhupada has all this. Why? Then the subject matter becomes relevant and appealing. So when it becomes relevant, then people relish. They think, okay, this is something for us. Because it's addressing the modern day issues. Prabhupada is speaking about world wars. How many times Prabhupada speaks about United Nations? So many things Prabhupada speaks. Modern day problems and issues, population explosion, starvation, divorce, communism, capitalism, cow slaughter, overpopulation. So many things Prabhupada speaks. So this is the meaning of realization. Siddhanta is the same, but to make it appealing to the audience at hand, then one is using relevant examples and situations and stories and all that. Prabhupada also used so many stories. So therefore, actually for us, Prabhupada has already done the job for the next 10,000 years. There are very few things to add or change in terms of even examples. Most of them are relevant for the next 10,000 years. So therefore, for us, we can simply repeat what Prabhupada has given. There's hardly any need for adding something. Of course, a little bit, Prabhupada didn't speak about internet and mobiles and laptops. That's the only thing maybe that's missing. Maybe that we can add. But otherwise, most of the things have been covered. So, but then that's the meaning of realization. Siddhanta remains the same, but it is presented in a way that is appealing to all classes of men. Okay. No, the original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be screwed out of it, yet it should be presented in an interesting manner for the understanding of the audience. This is called realization. And then further down he says, the leader of the assembly, Shanaka, could estimate the value of the speaker, Sri Sutta Goswami, simply by uttering Yatha Ditam and Yatha Mati, and therefore he was very glad to congratulate him in ecstasy. So when Sutta Goswami said Yatha Ditam Yatha Mati, so what was the import of that? The import of that is that Sutta Goswami wants to simply repeat the message of the previous acharyas according to his own realization. So that is the understanding of Yatha Ditam Yatha Mati, and Shamak Rishi was very happy that Sutta Goswami is simply going to repeat the message of the previous acharyas. And therefore Prabhupada says, no learned man should be willing to hear a person who does not represent the original acharya. So the speaker and the audience were bona fide in this meeting where Bhagavatam was being recited for the second time. That should be the standard of recitation of Bhagavatam, so that the real purpose can be served without difficulty. Unless this situation is created, Bhagavatam recitation for extraneous purposes is useless labor both for the speaker and for the audience. So this is the standard Prabhupada is writing. This should be the standard of recitation of Bhagavatam. Not that one is speaking anything, one has one's own ulterior motives, purposes to speak, attracting people. No, nothing of that sort. Simply repeating the message. So this is the meaning of realization. Any clarifications on this? Okay, Nimana.
Thank you, Guruji. Guruji, first question was related to the formal section of the purport.
Hmm.
Now, Shaunak Rishi is standing and congratulating. So, is he feeling that yes, I am the senior most, and so, or somebody told him that Guruji, you are senior most, you please.
The details are not mentioned.
So then in the assembly, at the end of Bhagavatam classes, sometimes I tend to say thank you Maharaj or thank you Prabhuji, and then some words of praise or some the good section. So if you can speak on that, what could be the content of our, before question we say thank you and then some nice point you said Maharaj or Prabhuji. So please if you can clarify your caution and correction or okay.
So of course, if you're asking a question, that's not a problem.
But I feel that maybe if I say thank you and a one-two statement about something which I, learned nice from this class, that makes it audible.
So that's fine. No? That's fine.
So then, is it not entering into like now I'm congratulating him for a nice class or nice,
No, but then that anyone can do. It's not something. If it's just a Bhagavatam class, then a Bhagavatam class, it's okay because it's not like a, some very formal program or something like that. Bhagavatam class, anyone can. So when the speaker is opening for questions and comments, then anyone is qualified to speak.
Thank you, Guruji. And the second question was related to this section of repeating. And thank you, you really brought out this point that Srila Prabhupada has covered all the situations there, good examples also. So we can just learn that. And I've seen that as well as Jayadeva Swami Maharaj. Actually, he's doing this. Whenever I congratulate Maharaj personally, later, not congratulate, I thank Maharaj for this example was very nice, Maharaj. Immediately you tell, yes, this is Prabhupada's example. Most of the times I've seen this happen with me, with Maharaj. So, Prabhuji, then sometimes, it is possible that some class may be there where the devotee, 2-3 things are happening. One, actually he is not basing his class on Srila Prabhupada's mood, mission and vision. He is just speaking some class, and in the class 1 or 2 reference to Prabhupada or some purport may be there. First situation. Second situation, he is quoting some Acharya's teachings or some Krishna's pastimes without giving reference. Third situation, he is going hardly anything from the purport or anything from Prabhupada's vision on this subject or in this context, what Srila Prabhupada would have wanted to teach this audience. These several situations may be happening. If it happens, then audience what she should do. And the fear audience may have is that I may not input my system something which actually is not as per Srila Prabhupada's mood, mission and vision, and then that goes inside, and then based on that viewpoint, I am now seeing Shiksha set of Srila Prabhupada or ISKCON's other programs and happenings. So then the audience, how she should play, what to do in situations like this.
Okay, so whatever may be the situation, you told 3 situations, whatever may be the situation, we should know what is the ideal. Correct. So if we know what is the ideal, and so therefore devotees in general should be trained as to what is the standard. Here Prabhupada is writing here. What is saying? That should be the standard of recitation of Maha. So that means devotees need to be educated of what is the right standard. So then, if the devotees are aware of what is the right standard, and they see somebody else who's not following the standard, and if we are not qualified, authorized to comment on that, then it's none of our business. Correct? It's none of our business. But at the same time, if we know the standard, then we don't have to imbibe the wrong standard. Also, if we find that somebody is speaking something which is not in line with the previous acharyas or something which is not in line with Srila Prabhupada, then or somebody is not giving references. Okay, if somebody is not giving references to what they have spoken, then we can humbly ask them for references, as we have been doing here also sometimes. So we can ask them for reference. And if they're not able to give reference, then at least we should not repeat it. So if we don't know the authenticity of something what we're hearing, at least we should not repeat it. Otherwise, it will become like Sargal Singh. Everyone knows the story of Sargal Singh? How many know the story of Sargal Singh? Please raise hand. Really, Sargal Singh, you don't know such a famous person? Okay. Okay, since you're the only person, so we will tell so that. Okay, so once in a village, a person was found to be very sad, depressed, he was mourning, and he also shaved his head, not because he was brahmachari. So then, so some other person asked, so what happened? He said, you don't know? What? Sargal Singh is dead. I think so now many have recollected the story. So then what happened? He also shaved. And then what happened? Like that the whole village shaved. So everyone, each one told the other person, Sargal Singh is dead. And as soon as they heard that, oh, Sargal Singh is dead. Shaved. So then finally the message went to the king or whoever the person was. So he asked, so he saw all the people in the village have shaved. They're all mourning. What happened? Sargal Singh is dead. So the king asked, so who is that Sargal Singh? Who is Sargal Singh? I don't know. And so finally it went back to the original person. And then he was asked, so who was Sargal Singh who died? Seems to be a very dear person to you. Who is that Sargal Singh? What was the reply?
Donkey.
He was my dear donkey. So, at least this should not happen. And sometimes it happens. So, right during Prabhupada's time it was happening. So Shrutakirti Prabhu tells, once he heard some other devotees something, and they said, Prabhupada said. But of course that time Prabhupada was personally present. So Shrutakirti Prabhu is his personal servant, so he immediately went and asked. So Shri Prabhupada, the devotees are saying you said something like this. Prabhupada said, no, I never said. So this tendency is there, one wants to put forth one's own opinion, but one wants the stamp of authority. Then it becomes bona fide. So these tendencies are there. That's what Srila Prabhupada condemns, isn't it? That people want to present their own views, but they use the authority of Bhagavad Gita. So then what happens? Then their words become bona fide because they're using the authority of Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada says, what business they have to use Bhagavad Gita for their own business? If you want, you write your own book. Why you want to use Bhagavad Gita? So similarly, yes, that's called cheating, correct. So similarly, one may speak something which may not be bona fide, So at least if we don't get a reference, we don't know the authenticity of what we're hearing, then at least we should not do the disservice of repeating unauthorized words. Because then what happens? It spreads. One person speaks to 10 people, 10 people will speak to another 100 people, and then like that, it spreads. And then everyone thinks it is correct. And then after some years, somebody will say, who spoke that? Somebody spoke. So, or if somebody wants to authenticate what they've said, then they will say, Srila Prabhupada said. Like that, some proper statements float around. Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Prabhupada said. So therefore, at least if we don't know the authenticity of what we are hearing, then better not to repeat. Does it answer the question? So at least we should not repeat, and we should know what is the right standard, so that when we are presenting a class, then we follow the right standard. And if we are in position of authority somewhere, then it is good that we train all the devotees to maintain the proper standards of giving class. So then we can make some policies, rules and regulations for all the Bhagavatam speakers, so that people don't go off track and people are trained as to how classes should be given. So one of Prabhupada's disciples wrote this article about giving classes. Yes, correct, Krishna. So there he mentions that when we are giving a class, we should present Srila Prabhupada and we should not be presenting ourselves. So it's not that I present my opinions and my views and my thoughts. No. We are sitting on what? Vyas Asan. So that means we are supposed to represent Vyasadeva in Parampara. So therefore, the Bhagavatam class, or for that matter any class, is not for some personal agendas or for putting forth some management issues and things like that. That is not the purpose. So the class should be purely based on Shastra, Parampara, that is how classes should be present. See? Okay, okay, fine. No? Okay, fine. I'll take a minute, it's both.
Sometimes the in a representation of different things, like suppose somebody is this place, some different places. For different places, sometimes local examples are given. You can say more this like लोक कहावत या फिर लोक प्रचलित चीजें जो दी जाती हैं, which are not mentioned. They may not be Vedic things also. They may not be mentioned in Prabhupada also. So once I heard from Prabhupada disciple, he was mentioning that if that lok prachalit thing is increasing the bhakti of the local peoples, then it can be mentioned. So how much it is applicable for us? Because sometimes you give example of different peoples in different places.
Can you give an example?
Like example sometimes.
Okay, you're referring to something like that?
Something like that.
Okay, so 2 points in this. One point is an occasional quote is okay. And second point is it should definitely be in line with our Siddhanta. So if it is in line with our Siddhanta, and once in a while it is quoted, then it is fine. Basically, the most important point is it must be in line with our Siddhanta. As Prabhupada is saying over here, that the original purpose of the text must be maintained. No obscure meaning should be skewed. So that's the part. So occasionally, once in a while, that's fine. You had something? No. ठीक है.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhu, when we are asked to repeat the words of previous Acharya, so then the question arises whether we should repeat the words of Srila Prabhupada or our spiritual master.
Is there a difference between?
Still, like the focus, our focus should be on what?
See, all spiritual masters within ISKCON repeat Prabhupada's words. That is the standard. Within ISKCON, everyone repeats Prabhupada's words. So how can it be different?
But then just like we say, okay, Prabhupada was also repeating his spiritual master words, but we don't jump to the teachings of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. So same way one can say this also, like why we are jumping to Srila Prabhupada's teachings.
But the situation within ISKCON is slightly different. Within ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada has a very special place as the founder Acharya. And so because Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya of ISKCON and greatly empowered to spread Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message all over the world, so Prabhupada's position is very unique. And so therefore, the etiquette within ISKCON is that the law book for the next 10,000 years. And therefore, this is the message that we are supposed to repeat. Of course, as I said again, that if the current acharyas, spiritual masters are giving some good examples, some good understanding, of course that we can repeat. There's no problem. But the Siddhanta essentially remains the same. The Siddhanta, the mode of Srila Prabhupada is carried out within ISKCON by all the bona fide devotees.
And one more question, Prabhuji. Like just like Narad Muni uses the allegorical story of Puranjana, can we also use some imaginary stories and to present our view, like this teaching or the Siddhanta, to present the principles?
How much imagination?
I mean, completely imaginary story so as to present the principle in a understandable way.
Personally, I would not encourage it. Because how far the imagination will go, who knows? Imagination may turn out into concoction. And so, my suggestion would be, if at all you think that something like that would be good for preaching or something like that, best is to confirm with some seniors. Okay, that would be safe. Sure.
This example of you were telling somebody said that physician conversating with a patient. Right?
Prabhupada himself says
Prabhupada,
this.
yeah. Somebody is presenting Bhagavad Gita to be as a physician's conversation with the patient. So I just wanted to ask that, like, just for the sake of analogy purpose, even if somebody says, let's say if somebody is a doctor or something like that, and we may have to make him understand. So for that matter, Krishna, of course, the very fact is, in this analogy, both are living entities. So we cannot apply to Krishna, but just for the sake of mentioning it, Arjuna is a patient. He is having a disease, and Karpanya Doshopada, when he surrenders to Krishna, when he admits that, okay, now I can't do anything, you treat me now, basically. And then Krishna, as a doctor, he treats him, basically.
See,
So
that's different. That's different. So Prabhupada was referring to to a situation where the person is not accepting Krishna as the Supreme Lord. He is presenting Krishna as a mundane person. And in that context, he is presenting a conversation like physician and doctor. That means, he's also a mundane person, he's also a mundane person. And there's a conversation going on. So that's what is condemned. But then we have the correct understanding. But then we maybe to address that particular audience, we say that yes, it could be like that. But then we present the right Siddhanta, Krishna as the Supreme Lord and Arjuna also as a pure devotee. So we present the right Siddhanta, but then at the same time to maybe help that particular audience understand, then if we want to say that, yes, Arjuna is in a diseased condition, Arjuna is like in a diseased condition, then that's different.
Here in this verse, it is asked, it is mentioned that Vyasdev said. How come Puji this Vyasdev said? How I understand this? Because Vyasdev is mentioning about Sutta Goswami, conversation with Shaunak Rishi, and Vyasdev ji wrote or compiled this literature before.
Common question. So Vyasdev, he knows everything, past, present, future. He knows everything. So he is thinking about the future and he is writing. So the entire thing is being narrated by Vyasdev. No, Vyasdev is writing. He is writing, he is not narrating to anyone, he is writing. He is writing the Bhagavatam. And so he knows in the future all this will happen, and so he is writing everything. So here the verse basically who is speaking? Shaunak Rishi. Shaunak Rishi, who was the elderly learned, engaged in a congratulated Sutta Goswami. So, but then the whole thing is being narrated by Vyasdev. Right from verse 1, the whole thing is being written by Vyasdev. So therefore, it's coming Vyasavacha. But everything is Vyasavacha.
So similarly, then can we understand Guruji, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiating Tukaram Maharaj and Kaviraj Goswami writing 500 years ago about it, whereas Tukaram Maharaj came 350 years ago only. Should we similarly understand this situation also? Kaviraj Goswami knows future is going to happen.
Is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that he actually initiated?
Yeah.
Prabhupada writes and Tukaram Maharaj writes in his Abhanga that I was reading by from
Chaitanya Goswami.
Chaitanya Baba.
Chaitanya Baba.
Possible, yes, that's possible. All these personalities are Trikalagyan, they know past, present, future. Okay, let's proceed. So now Shaunak Rishi begins to speak. Shaunako vacha suta suta mahabhaga vadana vadatam katham bhagavatim punyam yadaha bhagavan shuka. Shaunaka said, O Sutta Goswami, you are the most fortunate and respected of all those who can speak and recite. Please relate the pious message of Srimad Bhagavatam which was spoken by the great and powerful sage Shukadeva Goswami. So here, Sutta Sutta Mahabhaga. Why twice Sutta Goswami is addressed twice? His address is twice addressed herein by Shaunak Goswami out of great joy, because he and the members of the assembly were eager to hear the text of the Bhagavatam uttered by Shukadeva Goswami. They were not interested in hearing it from a bogus person who would interpret in his own way to suit his own purpose. So then it talks about the professional status. So now Shaunak Rishi is asking some questions. Third verse. Kasmin yuge pravritteyam sthane vakena hetuna kuta sanchodita Krishna kritavan samhitam muni. In what period and at what place was this verse begun? And why was this taken up? From where did Krishna Dvaipayan Vyas, the great sage, get the inspiration to compile this literature? So now from the fourth verse onwards, so he's asking inquiries about Shukadeva Goswami. from 4 to 8. 4. Tasya putro mahayogi samadren nirvikalpakaha ekantamati nidro guru muda iveyate. His Vyasdev's son was a great devotee and equibalanced monist whose mind was always concentrated in monism. He was transcendent to mundane activities, but being unexposed, he appeared like an ignorant person. Okay, so he was Gudo Mudha Ibrahim. So he was a great Ekantamati, Nirvikalpa Ekantamati. So he was fixed in the impersonal Brahman. Ekantamati was totally fixed, Brahman realized. But then his exalted position as a Mahayogi was Guda, was not exposed, and he appeared like Muda. He appeared like a mad person. So Prabhupada writes, Shukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul and thus he remained always alert, not to be trapped by the illusory energy. And then he says, liberated soul and conditioned soul have different engagements. Okay, text 5. Just read the translation. While Sri Vyasadeva was following his son, beautiful young damsels who were bathing naked covered their bodies with cloth, although Sri Vyasadeva himself was not naked. But they had not done so when his son had passed. The sage inquired about this, and the young ladies replied that his son was purified, and when looking at them, made no distinction between male and female, but the sage made such distinctions. Purport. Somebody read?
In the Bhagavad Gita 5.18, it is said that a learned sage looks equally on a learned and gentle Brahmana, a Chandala, dog eater, a dog, or a cow due to his spiritual vision. Srila Shukadeva Goswami attained that stage. Thus, he did not see a male or female, he saw all living entities in different dress. The ladies who were bathing could understand the mind of a man simply by studying his demeanor, just as by looking at a child, one can understand how innocent he is. Shukadeva Goswami was a young boy, 16 years old, and therefore all the parts of his body were developed. He was naked also, and so were the ladies. But because Shukadeva Goswami was transcendental to sex relations, he appeared very innocent. The ladies, by their special qualifications, could sense this at once, and therefore they were not very concerned about him. But when his father passed, the ladies quickly dressed. The ladies were exactly like his children or grandchildren, yet they reacted to the presence of Vyasadeva according to the social custom, because Srila Vyasadeva played the part of a householder. A householder has to distinguish between a male and female, otherwise he cannot be a householder. One should, therefore, attempt to know the distinction between body and soul without any attachment for male and female. As long as such a distinction is there, one should not try to become a sannyasi like Shukadeva Goswami. At least theoretically, one must be convinced that a living entity is neither male nor female. The outward dress is made of matter by material nature to attract the opposite sex and thus keep one entangled in material existence. A liberated soul is above this perverted distinction. He does not distinguish between one living being and another. For him, they are all one and the same spirit. The perfection of this spiritual vision is the liberated stage, and Srila Shukadeva Goswami attained that stage. Srila Vyasadeva was also in the transcendental stage, but because he was in the householder's life, he did not pretend to be a liberated soul as a matter of custom.
Okay, fine. So very important purport. So let's see what we can learn from this verse and purport. So just make small groups of 3 or 4 devotees and try to come up with some important lessons, teachings for our own practical application. Okay, 5 minutes, quickly. What do we learn from this? From this verse and purport for our own application. Personal application, preaching application. Everyone is clear with the question? अभी तक नहीं बताया. So what points for our own personal application can we learn from this verse and purports? So that's the question. You require more hints?
One example.
Okay, one example. So one example is, so just like towards the end Prabhupada is saying that Srila Vyasdev was also in the transcendent stage, but because he was in the household life, he did not pretend to be a liberated soul as a matter of custom. So that means one needs to follow some social customs and etiquettes while living in society. Whatever be one's spiritual position, but when one is in society, then one needs to follow certain customs, irrespective of one's spiritual position. Clear? So that's one. So you try to find some more, you can correlate with other Shastric examples, references. So come up with something. Let's hear. Think. Purport फिर से पढ़िए. और फिर सोचिए.
मेरा पाँच सवाल है हम लोग मैंने बताया पॉइंट अभी आप दूसरे पॉइंट सोचिए ना उसी को बताया ना sometimes for the sake of fixing ourselves, because the wrong motivation, because they have special things to take, who is real. पहले तो क्या करते तो इससे क्या टूट सकता है वो लिखा क्या होगा बताओ ना फिर आप लोग बता नहीं रहे
Therefore, they were not very conservative.
और टीचर और but theoretically at least on lower level we should not theoretically this is हिंदी नहीं क्या उनको इतना पकड़ने का हिंदी compassion only लेकिन कस्टमर को फॉलो करना ओके तो दिन बोल दिया ये नहीं सोचना है कि हम अबो है आप सूत्र में तो परिभाषा सूत्र को लिखिए आप हमको भागवतम लिखने दो आप बोलते परिभाषा सूत्र लिख दिया मुझे सब कुछ हो गया नहीं ये तो कुछ पॉइंट ही नहीं लिख सकते हैं तो डिग्री allow our mind to take material tools डिग्री हमारा हमारा हैंडल तो देखो जरा पॉइंट रखते हैं
Hare Krishna. Done or you require more time? हो गया ना? हाँ ठीक है सब जन एक एक पॉइंट बताओ. ओके लेट्स स्टार्ट. माइक दे दो यहाँ पे.
माइक
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Then can we have everyone's attention, please?
Hare Krishna. From this purport,
One point.
We discussed that we should not become Mithyacharis. Instead of becoming.
Just wait. Let everyone settle down. Everyone settle. ठीक है.
We should not become Mithyacharis,
Mm-hmm.
pretending sadhus,
Mhm.
but instead of that, at least we should have a theoretical understanding of distinction between body and soul.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on what basis you are coming up with this point?
Here, in the purport, one should therefore attempt to know the distinction between body and soul without any attachment for male and female.
Mm.
As long as such distinction is there, one should not try to become sannyasi like Sukadeva Goswami.
Mm. Okay, so on that basis, you're saying that one should not be a mithyachari. Okay, that's a valid point. One should not become mithyachari. Yeah, Pastor.
This opposite sex gender is created to increase the bodily consciousness and get entangled for the Jew.
So what's the application?
So application is that one should see the equanimity on the level of soul and not distinguish from the body.
Okay, good point. So yes, one can see equality on the basis of soul, but then one should be careful because there are bodily differences. And so if we are not on that platform to distinguish, to see on the platform of the soul, then till that point one should be careful while dealing with the opposite sex. Okay, good point. Thank you.
we should maintain our purity, own purity, so that then the people whom we preach, they will understand that our level of consciousness, mind purity. Like here, Shukadeva Goswami was pure in his heart, therefore the ladies have special sixth sense by which they can understand who is pure in mind and who is not in pure in mind. So if we are maintaining some ill motives in our mind or consciousness while preaching or whatever action, then other people will get it.
Okay,
Then the
fine.
transformation will not happen.
Okay, fine. So maintaining purity of intentions is important. Good point. Yes.
Here we find that Sukadeva Goswami is treating everyone equally in the sense of proper begins the purport. So respecting all as part and parcel of Supreme in that sense.
Yes, so okay, we need to respect all as part and parcel of the Supreme. Okay, fine. Okay, that's also a good point. Yes, thank you.
In the last, you told that Vyasadeva, he was already liberated, but he was pretending that he is not liberated. So, in this way, we can see that
He was maintaining the social custom.
Yeah. So, in that way, sometimes we are distinguishing between brahmacharis, grihasthas. You know, sometimes brahmacharis think that grihasthas they are fallen like that, but we don't know. They may be, you know, liberated. They are very much advanced in spiritual. So in that way, we should respect grihasthas.
Okay, we should respect everyone, basically,
Everyone.
yes. So yes, even a grahastha could be a liberated soul, yes, could be very elevated. So yes, we cannot distinguish simply on the basis of externals. Okay, good point, thank you.
Hare Krishna. A few points we discuss.
1 point. We'll come back to you for more points.
Seniority is in following the etiquettes, not the breaking the etiquettes.
On what basis you derive this point?
This Vyasdev ji is following the etiquettes of householder life. He is accepting that that I am not at the platform of, so I have to discriminate when the Matajis hide themselves. So he did not become angry. Why you have behaved differently with Sukadeva Goswami and behaving differently? I am not liberated, although he was liberated, open mention. Still he followed the etiquettes. So his Sundar Chaitanya Ji mentioning an example of his Holiness Lunga Swami Maharaj. Once he was going on beach, and one devotee told Maharaj, this ocean is great. So Maharaj replied, his greatness is there because he is in limit. If you break the limit, then no greatness. Then you will not say it's great. Greatness is there because he follow its limit.
Okay, so what's the final point?
Point is that seniority in following the etiquettes, whatever standards to our ashram, varna ashram, whatever. That
Okay,
is
so we need to follow the etiquettes and.
Other than breaking the etiquette, one never becomes seniority.
Oh.
Imitating senior, other advanced Vaishnava and breaking that is not considered.
Okay, good point, very good, thank you. Here some other groups are in it.
It we find divided within, then there will be lust. So first of all we should come on the platform of soul, then only we can see soul while preaching in female or male.
Okay, so you're saying we should come to the soul platform before preaching. And if we're not on the soul platform, we should not preach. Okay, so basically you're trying to say that, okay, we should come to the spiritual platform. Okay, good point, thank you. Kaun baki?
Yeah, we should be convinced that we are not the body but the soul. So by this concept, we can, while even preaching or while we should try to maintain our level, because we cannot be on the level of Sukadeva Goswami, what he was. So at our level, we should not try to imitate, but try to know that we should follow the path of bhakti process.
Okay, fine, thank you. Here I think so one group is here. Okay, you speak.
We should follow the etiquettes regarding to particular ashramas, not mixing with by considering on soul platform or I am sannyasi or I am big brahmachari. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very strict to dealings with women, although he is supreme lord, sannyasi.
Right, so yes, strict in following the rules and regulations of that particular ashram. Yes, important point.
So we should know that on the soul level, we should see the equality on the level of soul and super soul. But simultaneously, we should have discrimination between
material body.
Hmm.
So we should follow the etiquette.
Hmm.
We should have equal vision, but
Hmm.
equal vision doesn't mean equal treatment. We should have suitable treatment.
Good, good, very nice point. Yes. Equal vision does not mean equal treatment. Yes, good point. Hmm. I'll tell you a few pastimes. Maybe you've heard before or not, whatever. This pastime is narrated by one of Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Mahabuddhi Guru. So Srila Prabhupada was once sitting with Mahabuddhi Guru and talking. They were discussing something. And all of a sudden, Srila Prabhupada's sister Krishima walks into the room. And then Srila Prabhupada immediately begins talking with her. Both of them are conversing in Bengali. Mahabuddhi Guru, American, he doesn't understand. And then he stands up to leave the room. And Prabhupada immediately says, "Sit down!" So he gets frightened. So he sits down quietly. They continue speaking. And then after some time she left. And then Mahabuddhi Prabhu, he was curious. Why did Srila Prabhupada say so strongly to sit down? So he asked, Srila Prabhupada, I could not understand, both of you are speaking in Bengali, I could not understand. Why did you tell me to sit down? Then Srila Prabhupada quoted, Matra swastra duhidrava. आगे क्या? बलवान इंद्रिय ग्रामो विद्वान सपीकर्ष. Prabhupada quoted this. So you see, what is Prabhupada's position? First of all, he is in his late 70s. His sister is also same age. Both of them are elevated devotees. But yet you see how Srila Prabhupada was so strict in following the social customs, etiquettes. And Srila Prabhupada, he himself quotes the example of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in connection to Dr. Kapoor and his wife. Both of them were newly married at that time. And then after a class, his wife requests Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I want to speak something to you in private. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says, no. All these are my disciples. You can speak here. So Srila Prabhupada says that she was almost like his granddaughter. But still, Srila Prabhupada says, my Guru Maharaj was so strict. And somebody already mentioned about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how Mahaprabhu was so strict. So Mahaprabhu, Supreme Lord, Sannyasi, but still, Maharaj Pratap Rudra. So in spite of so many devotees requesting, he refuses to meet. The devotee said, no, he's not only a king, he's a great devotee. Mahaprabhu says, no. Even though he may be a great devotee, he has the title king, so I cannot meet him. And then he says, Sannyasira alpachidra sarvalokagai. Even if there is a small blemish in the character of a sannyasi, the whole world will speak about it. So you see, all these are liberated personalities. All these examples that we just gave, liberated personalities. But yet, they are following the social customs, they are following the etiquettes to set the right example. To set the right example. And so therefore, very important point. And of course, Mahaprabhu was so strict in his dealings with women, they even could not come close to offer obeisances, they had to offer obeisances from a distance, and we all know the story of Chota Haridas. That was such an insignificant mistake. It was practically a mental mistake, but still Mahaprabhu was so strict just to set the standard. Okay. There was Gita Sammelan. Srila Prabhupada was invited to this Gita Sammelan. I'm forgetting the place where it was. Maybe Varanasi, anyway, where was the place? So, yes, I think it was Varda. So then there was the big sammelan of so many different sadhus and spiritualists. So they're discussing on the Gita, and then Srila Prabhupada, as usual, he's condemning the bogus interpretations on the Gita, and it's quite heavy about that. So then one of them says, Swamiji, why are you getting so angry? Why are you getting so angry? So one should see everyone equally. And then he quotes this verse, Prabhupada is quoting you here, 5:18. What is that? Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Javyasni Shuni Chevashvake Pandita Samad. So you should be Samadarshi. Why are you getting angry on some people? You should be Samadarshi. So Prabhupada says, no, but they are giving wrong interpretations on the Gita. How can I not get angry? So then the other person says, but Swamiji, see here Bhagavad Gita is saying that you should be Samadarshi, Pandita Samadarshina. And then I'm not remembering exactly actually. I'm a little bit paraphrasing, but I'll come to the final point. But then in between, the other person, he also says, maybe Vyasadeva made some mistake, something he says. And then Prabhupada gets even more angry. And Prabhupada says, what? Now you're finding faults with Vyasadeva? So quite a heated argument went on. And then finally, when this man he was again and again hitting at this point. Oh, you should be Samadarshi. Why are you getting angry on some? You're partial to some, this, that, he was saying. Finally, Prabhupada said, I cannot be Samadarshi. I cannot be Samadarshi. I have to find faults with these people. So, the point is that artificially one cannot be Samadarshi. So, who can actually be on the platform of Samadarshi? The Uttamadhikari Mahabhagat. Therefore, even the Uttamadhikari has to come to the Madhyam level to preach. Because the preacher has to make distinctions. Here is a devotee, here is innocent, here is envious. So he has to make distinctions. So Prabhupada was on that platform of a preacher. And so then as a preacher, he has to condemn the wrong interpretations of the Gita, he has to condemn the atheistic class of people, the envious class of people, he has to condemn for the sake of teaching others. So, one cannot be artificially Samadarshi. One cannot be artificially on the platform of a Mahabhagavat. So, the Mayavadis, they artificially try to have this equanimity or Samadarshi. And so they say, okay, everyone is soul, everyone is Narayan. So you can worship anyone. That is a wrong application of Samadarshi. So then Srila Prabhupada refuted that by saying, oh, you say everyone is Samadarshi, everyone is Narayan. But then why you say Daridra Narayan? And then why you are cutting the goat Narayan to feed the Daridra Narayan? So one cannot artificially be on a Samadarshi platform. So one has to know what is one's own level and make distinctions accordingly. So here we find Vyasdev, even though he's on the liberated platform, he's still following certain social customs. He's still following what needs to be done in such a way that he is properly understood and not misunderstood. So similarly, in our behavior, our activities, our dealings, one has to be careful and one has to follow the social customs, the rules and regulations of the state. So all these things need to be followed, and one should be careful as to what will be the perception of other people that needs to be taken into consideration. Once a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, if a person is drowning, what should we do? Person is drowning in the ocean, what should we do? Anybody know what's the answer? Yes?
We should save him so that people have for the teaching purpose. For proper perception people have. We are not hard-hearted or something like that.
Correct. Loka vichar. Prabhupada said, for the purpose of loka vichar, if we are capable of saving, not, of course, not that I'm not capable and still I try to save and I also drown along with that. Not like that is foolishness. But if I'm capable of doing it, then I can try to save, because then it will help in preaching. Loka vichar. There was an incident in Australia, correct, where the house beside the temple was on fire, caught fire, and then there were only ladies at that time. During the daytime, all the men had gone for Sankirtan. But these ladies, they were bold enough and they helped these people who were in the building. They helped them come out of the building. They saved them. And then next day it came the newspaper, and then Srila Prabhupada was happy because it helps the preaching. So, Srila Prabhupada was concerned about all these things. What will be the loka vichar? What will be people's perceptions? So ultimately, of course, it's all for the purpose of preaching and how to help people accept Krishna consciousness. So one has to be careful about all these things. Now we have become transcendentalists, and we not care about all these social customs and all these things. So one has to be extremely careful with all these things. So otherwise, especially these days, one needs to be even more careful, because practically every word one is speaking, you see what is happening here? And everyone has one device like this. And we don't know who is recording what. In fact, one leader in ISKCON casually spoke something, it got recorded, and then when it's recorded, you know what happens. It's everywhere. Immediately. It doesn't take much time. So, and then what to speak of actions. Now again, one has to be so careful, especially these days. I don't know whether it's a blessing or a curse, but the fact remains that people are watching. People are watching. And so as preachers, as devotees, so one needs to be very careful of how one presents oneself in public. One senior devotee, this was many years back, one senior devotee was standing at the railway station. These are those days when people used to stand in line for booking tickets at the ticket counter at the railway station. So this devotee was standing, a saffron devotee. He was standing, and a big long line. So then as he was standing, another devotee came. And he saw this devotee standing in line. So he said, oh, you're already standing in line, you take my form also. Those days they had to fill form and then they would go in. So he said, oh, you take my form also. This devotee said, no, you see, people are watching. Such a big line is there. What will they say? He said, okay, it's all right. Take it. So anyway, it was pushed. So then he took it. And then, so then when his turn came, so he gave one form, he got his ticket. And then he gave the other form also. And then as soon as he gave the other form, the person standing behind immediately commented. He said, Maharajji, it is okay if a common man does things like this, but this is not expected from you. Immediately commented. So the point is that one has to be extremely careful about what are the social customs and behavior one needs to follow. So Srila Prabhupada was very careful about all these things in his dealings. So we cannot, especially, so in fact as devotees we need to be extra careful. Breaking traffic lights, following traffic rules, or whatever social customs are required to be followed. Train tickets. Some people travel without tickets. And then what to speak of dealing with the opposite sex, especially as brahmacharis. One has to be extremely careful. So, because people observe all these things, and who is going to comment what, we don't know. And sometimes devotees have landed in serious problems because of not being careful in these respects. So, one always needs to be cautious, careful, and so of course all of you have said many other points like, yes, that one should be on, definitely one should try to be on the spiritual platform and see everyone equally, have that spiritual vision towards everyone, not, but at the same time one also has to understand that yes, there are differences on the basis of the body, and so therefore on the basis of the body, yes, we need to have some discrimination. So yes, all these points are important in our practical application. All right? So, okay, one question.
This particular incident that you told about the senior devotee standing in the queue for the form. So, just wanted to ask that because see, some people, they are always going to comment whether you do it correctly or so. Like in general, because our train also will get missed. Let's say we wanted to go to some place for preaching on day. Not that, and then that particular booking is important for us. And then we saw that some of our devotees there. So maybe generally we call it, or maybe we calling him or something.
Of course now such situations hardly are reserved and books online, correct?
No, I am not telling our online thing. I am telling that, let's say even if such situation happens, when we are standing in a queue for train, and there is a express train about to leave in some time. So then we also sometimes do that. So the point is like not that the whole train is going to condemn us. That okay, it's not expected of us. Definitely the 1 or 2 persons will definitely may feel like that. But our intention and purpose was not wrong actually. So I wanted to ask you that what would you have done, or like ideally what because this is a very practical situation, what you said. It's also very important to catch the train.
Let's hear from others, more experienced devotees. Sundar Chetan Brahma.
Hare Krishna. I have seen this happening once. the devotee was getting late, and then long queue was there. So he personally go and requested and begged that I'm getting late and the train is there. So he didn't go and break the rule, but he basically took the permission and then did it. And then that person also understood that he is in their need, and then in sadhu also, he allowed to go ahead in the queue. So that should not be transgressed. So he didn't transgress, he requested.
Yes, good point.
Same comment may come actually.
No, see, the point is we have to do the right thing. Whether we do right or wrong, there are always going to be people to comment. That's another part. But the point is we need to do the right thing. Whether they comment or not, that's another story. That is their problem. But we need to.
So we tell our purpose that we are getting late.
Yes.
But then people will say we are also getting late.
So that's what. So that's what. So we need to do the right thing. That's the point.
But you want an example coming in mind. How principles are very important to follow. Once His Holiness Gopal Krishna was going in Delhi, so doctor, and he the lift came after some time, and he was about to entered the lift, and this Damodar Gaur, whose servant was there with him, and immediately when the lift was about to close, when Mataji entered the lift, and what to be done? Then again the lift was about to close, and Mataji said stop, and Mataji came out of the lift, and Damodar Gaur also came out, and then lift went up 4th floor, and then after 2-3 minutes after came back. So then in between, Maharaj told Damodar Gauri Guruji that how a brahmachari sannyasi should not in the lift with Mataji.
Yes.
So Maharaj took time, for him every moment is so important, but he waited for next 5 minutes more to set the principle right. So similarly, our mistake is what we always go late. We have to be on time.
That's the first principle.
We set the principle because it's whole, as you mentioned, people are watching this. Let us set the principle rather than break the principle and do the needful now and later.
Yeah, but then very, very nice example. You can see how the acharyas, senior devotees, how they are so careful in setting the right example, right standard. So yes, just one lady entering the lift. So sometimes we may think, okay, what's wrong? But you see, so strict. Yes, this should be the standard. This should be the standard.
Devapuji, I have seen His Holiness Gopal Krishna Raj. He's so worried when his flight is there. Where is the ticket? He's so pakka because he don't want to do all these things. He want to practice the principle. So when tickets is there, he's always very eager. Where is the ticket? Bring in my hand. Then I will only go. 2-3 hours before only whenever he has to leave. Or one day before only he's asking, doing things pakka so that like Gopal also used like this. Very pakka in his things.
Correct.
So, like that.
Yes. Therefore, we have to learn from our acharyas what the standards they have set.
I was saying today is Rukmini Devi's appearance day, and she also sent last day only.
So what's he
So I am just supporting Sharad Bro.
So don't bring transcendental activities into our mundane dealings of this world.
Because Prabhupada says that we don't care about cheap popularity.
Yes.
Let's not be concerned about it.
Yes.
So another aspect is that devotees in Australia, what they did. So that was. So now prasadam service, food distribution, and hospital opening. These are things which will appease the society. So where is the criteria? I mean, where is the fine line to be drawn? Whether it is cheap popularity or it is.
What's the motive? What's the motive? So we are not distributing food in the first place, we're distributing prasadam. That's transcendental. And so therefore that's first class preaching. Prasadam distribution is first class preaching. And similarly, if a hospital is also preaching Krishna consciousness along with curing the body and mind, so that's also preaching. So ultimately it's all based on what's the motive, what's the goal. So if we are not doing things for cheap popularity.
But we see that Prabhupada criticizes Ramakrishna Mission because they open hospitals.
Yes, but where's the spiritual substance? What spiritual substance do they have to give?
No, that we can add from our side, Prabhuji, spiritual things, spiritual touch. But Prabhupada directly says that this we don't do.
Yes, we don't do. We don't do, that's correct.
But we are doing.
So for what are we doing? That's the question. So just like now in Mayapur, they're constructing a 100-bed hospital. For what? What's the purpose?
I don't know, Guruji, I'm not able to draw the line.
No, what is the purpose? What's the purpose? Huh? Yes, for the devotees. Because the devotees also have a material body, isn't it? So it's not like social service. It's because we want to serve the devotees. The devotees have a material body, the devotees also get sick. So for treating them, then our facility is being opened. And then it's not that one is again simply doing it for cheap popularity as a philanthropic activity. It's simply meant for service, serving the devotees. We have open hospice in Vrindavan. For what? Giriraj Maharaj personally involved in that. For what? Everything is based on what's the motive. Okay.
And Prabhuji, another question I have, that what is our stand when we are accompanying Vyasdev and Shukdev Goswami? So we are preaching in Mumbai and many metropolitan cities like this. So when we are going to preach the boys, they are having other people also around them. So what should be our approach? How should we be standing? Like if there is a college preaching, let's say Mithi Bhai. So, or in our temple also.
Preach to the boys, not the other people around.
They are always there with them.
Yes, they will be there, but we need to preach only to the boys if you want to remain a brahmachari.
That we are sure that we don't have to preach them. But it's very difficult, Prabhuji, when they are always there with them.
Then you see what's your realization or what's your capacity to preach. So if you think that that type of preaching is too agitating, then better take up some other service. Consult senior devotees and do it. Okay? So let's complete at least this part about Shukadeva Goswami. So text 6. How was he, Srila Shukadeva, the son of Vyasa, recognized by the citizens when he entered the city of Hastinapur, now Delhi, after wandering in the provinces of Kuru and Jandala, appearing like a madman, dumb and retarded? Okay, so that's another question which Shaunak Rishi is asking. So in this purport, Prabhupada says, the sage is not therefore recognized by sight, but by hearing. A sage is not therefore recognized by sight, but by hearing. One should approach a sadhu or great sage not to see, but to hear him. If one is not prepared to hear the words of a sadhu, there is no profit. Shukadeva Goswami was a sadhu who would speak on the transcendental activities of the Lord. He did not satisfy the whims of ordinary citizens. He was recognized when he spoke on Satyal Bhagavatam and he never attempted jugglery like a magician. Outwardly, he appeared to be a retarded, dumb madman, but in fact, he was the most elevated transcendental personality. Okay, so Prabhupada writes in that famous sentence in the purport to Bhagavad Gita 2:54, correct? 53 or 54? No. So he writes that a fool remains unrecognized till he opens his mouth. Yes. So, and then he said, speech is one of the most important qualities of man. So sadhu is to be recognized by his speech. Okay, so this is about Shukadev. Okay, there are two more verses about Shukadev. How did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of the Vedas, Bhagavatam, to be sung to him? So they're asking because Shukdev Goswami, he is wandering around like a dumb man, retarded man. Then how did Parikshit recognize him? So they're surprised. How did Parikshit recognize how this conversation took place? And moreover, text 8. Sagodohana matram hi griheshu grihamedinam avekshate mahabhagas tirti kurvam stadashramam. He, Shukdev Goswami, was accustomed to stay at the door of a householder only long enough for a cow to be milked. And he did this just to sanctify the residence. So they're saying that Shukdev Goswami stayed for such a short time at a residence, at one place. Then how did he speak Bhagavatam to Parikshit for 7 days at one place? So therefore they're surprised. So here Srila Prabhupada writes that, again some important points are there in this purport also. That he was accustomed to stay at any householder's residence he was not accustomed to stay at householder's residence for more than half an hour at the time of milking the cow. And he would just take alms from the fortunate householder. That was to sanctify the residence by his auspicious presence. Therefore, Shukdev Goswami is an ideal preacher established in the transcendental position. From his activities, those who are in the renounced order of life and dedicated to the mission of preaching the message of Godhead should learn that they have no business with householders save and except to enlighten them in transcendental knowledge. Okay, so not that one goes to householders' houses just to get a good feast. Such asking for alms from the householder should be for the purpose of sanctifying his home. One who is in the renounced order of life should not be allured by the glamour of the householder's worldly positions and thus become subservient to worldly men. For one who is in the renounced order of life, this is much more dangerous than drinking poison and committing suicides. So yes, so one should be very careful when one goes to householders' houses. Here in Mumbai, maybe rich people with glamorous houses and glamorous people. So one needs to be extremely careful because one may be attracted and one may think, oh, I'm leading such a simple life. Maybe this is better. So therefore, that's the reason why Mahaprabhu was so strict with Maharaj Prataprudra. So just to set the example. And then we already had a discussion last time on Sanatana Goswami and the touchstone. Remember that? So, Yukta Vairagya, principle of Yukta Vairagya. But then one has to be careful. So if one cannot see all that opulence and all that, if one cannot see in connection to Krishna as spirit, then one needs to be careful. So if one feels I'm getting disturbed, agitated by all this glamour and opulence, then better keep a safe distance and not do that service. Consult senior Vaishnavas. But then one needs to be careful. Okay, so these are verses about Shukdev Goswami, and then next 4 verses are about Parikshit. Okay, fine, we'll continue our discussion. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Attendance, please.